Okay, you hit record. Good. So there's a little bit. It's just the room. There's the echo, right? But that's normal. It's fine. No one notices.
No.
Not until I pointed it out.
No. Nobody have complained so far.
Is that because nobody's listening?
Yeah, exactly. No. Well, some people are listening.
I know. It's called jokes. Okay, you can try. But yeah, we got these mics. You talk nice and firmly into them, and they're great. They're great.
Like especially from the I don't hear myself every day, right? I hear myself from my own mouth, but it's a very different voice.
But who does? That's the same as for everybody. Who's listening to themselves unless you're some sort of professional in the field?
I don't know.
So it's normal.
I don't know, but I like my voice from this mic. It's awesome.
Okay. You judge yourself very harshly. You've got a lot of
anxiety.
Yeah, it seems to kind of come up the way you talk about little traits that you have, and you seem to worry about your own personal traits a lot there.
Like a little bit too much self-reflection, I think. You know, I think I should do like a little intro before we start.
Okay, let's go for it, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of Never Off the Boat. We have a guest, like I promised. I'm never going to do a solo again. Today we have Louis Zezeran. He's, did I pronounce that right?
Correct, yes.
He's a local comedian. He has been doing stand-up. He brought the art form of stand-up comedy to Estonia, I think. I would go far to say that.
I was one of the original founders of Comedy Estonia, and we were the ones, I think, who did it. Yeah, one of a few, but anyway, sure.
He's very
Here I am, underplaying my achievements now.
About this, but now even he's very famous, even though he's a local legend. But you know what? We got him on the powder. He's the first guest to Never Off the Boat.
Never off the boat.
Never off the boat. Do you know what it means?
Never off the boat. It's some sort of immigrant kind of thing. They're coming on the boats. What's the never off the boat reference?
Yeah, I came up with just thinking about like that expression, fresh off the boat.
Okay, yeah.
But I explained, like, I feel like I never truly got off the boat.
Oh, is it some sort of your life and the way you're wandering endlessly?
Not really. It's just like you're still holding and carrying all those kind of like memories and whatever with you. Mm-hmm. You know. So in the past, I think when people invented the phrase "fresh off the boat," like they move across Atlantic and from the old continent to the new one, and then they left everything behind. Sure. Like they lost all the contacts. Like they probably never going to see their parents again. They didn't have Skype or whatever. So when they are actually fresh off the boat, they're fresh. They couldn't be more fresh. Besides their clothes, that's all. Like, but nowadays, man, like I can't disown my parents.
You can't run away from them. Mom's going to track you down.
Yeah, they still come over like yearly. Yeah. If it wasn't for the COVID-19, they would be here right now.
Yeah, right. This is her yearly time to come, is it?
I think so.
Okay.
They're trying to come in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were trying to. Wait, this is the summer.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, yeah, they were trying to come, right? So
but
maybe
can't.
Next. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Obviously, we can't come.
They did come every year, but I think there's something about Estonia they really like. I couldn't figure it out. Like they're very quiet. They don't speak. My parents are very Chinese. I don't know what that means, but like they don't talk a lot. They think I'm a horrible person for some reason because I talk too much. They always tell me like there's one philosophy I think they have been telling me growing up is like just listen more.
Okay. Well, that's not completely bad, but you can do both.
It's not bad, but whenever I open my mouth, it's like your opinion doesn't matter.
Ooh, wow. So is this strict Asian parent stereotype? It's really a thing. This is like they're really giving you the hard lessons and the direct lessons on life right here.
I don't know. I think
my parents have never told me to shut the fuck up. Like
really?
They never, not really. Like not. They would never. We'd never have such a relationship where they're gonna be like, Louis, stop talking. Louis, do this personality trait. Like,
but you're like very grown now. Like when you were a kid, was it different?
Well, I would say you're quite grown as well. So yeah, things might.
Yeah, they're telling me less and less now. Actually.
Okay, well that's a good start.
It is. I think they're treating me less and less like a kid, but they're also trying themselves to change.
That's nice. It's very self-reflective of them.
They are, but I don't know. Like when you were a kid, like your parents didn't even like.
No, they did. I have a recollection of my parents.
Are you the only kid, by the way?
I am an only child.
That's
yes.
Awesome.
Well, I have a recollection of them telling me that that I was like too forgetful.
What do you mean by that?
That I was forgetful. That I just forget shit even to this day. Like I don't have a great memory, and I have a feeling my memory loss has been accelerated by years of, I don't know, age and marijuana smoking over the years. So I remember them like always telling me like, you're just forgetful. And that's why now I've developed super strong, like a personal management system with tasks and projects and calendars and due dates and shit like that. So like I understood that I forget things.
So internally, you basically let yourself go. You said, I can forget, but I'm using this management tool.
Yes, because
But why do you forget?
Who knows? Well, why? You just do.
No. I think
like my brain just goes.
Do you not care?
No, my brain just doesn't remember. It's not a conscious it's not a conscious action. It's just my brain. So I kind of leaned into it, and I went, you know what? And as I looked into and I read the literature about how to organize yourself better and how to do better tasks and track that. It's like the literature was telling me, don't rely on your brain anyway. Even if you have a strong brain, don't rely on it because the brain is a terrible place to store information.
What if it's a really important thing for you? Like you just know it's very important. Would you still forget about it?
Sure. So you may be able to write it down. I mean, if it's so important, why aren't you writing it down or putting it in a calendar? Or if it's that fucking important to you, why is it so?
Yeah.
Like if it's a birthday, put it in a calendar.
For sure.
Like, because my mother always used to get on me like, you don't remember the birthdays. Like my mother always, maybe it got to me because I always felt like they assigned some weird, this line of questioning that you have right now, like, why don't you just remember it? And I'm like, it was somehow my mother assigned like I was less genuine if I didn't remember it. And I'm like, Mom, what's the difference if I just put it in a calendar and then when the day pops up, it reminds me?
No, there is a difference.
Why?
There is a difference.
Why is there a difference in that?
Like it's inappropriate, but let's use an analogy of having sex, right?
Okay.
You're using artificial facilitation.
You're claiming that the brain is the one and only store of this information. It's not. The brain's a really bad place to store stuff. The brain's good for thinking. The brain's good for coming up with new ideas. It's a terrible database.
If we're talking about utility, yes, I would actually go agree with you and say, hey, yes, if anything that works, it's good, right? If notebook works better than the brain, fine. But we're not only talking about utility.
Sure.
We're talking about morality. We're talking about like.
Well, no, it's not like I forget that I shouldn't be killing people or something. Like, I forgot that one.
No, I'm not going there. I'm just saying like there's some pride associated to remembering things. You know what I mean?
I have no pride. I don't care. Like, who cares? I don't have like, oh, it's a fucking world achievement that I remembered something. Great. No, I just wrote it down and I got it later. I don't have to think about it until then. It doesn't have to occupy myself.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you on this one. No, I'm gonna let that one go. It does bother me though when you say that you don't remember things. Okay. I'm like, I remember everything.
Okay.
I don't know
why.
Sort
of psychopath are you?
It is. Like, I don't know how to forget. Like, like, what if you got like, let's say something emotional happened. Have you been emotional before? Have you been hurt before?
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Do you forget that?
Well, no, obviously not.
Right.
But I can forget many details of the day, of the specifics. I don't remember, in terms of the ups and downs of relationships and all those years, I know that things might have been bad at different times and really full of trauma at some times, but it's not like I remember every little moment of that.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Huh. Well, let's take a break from that.
It's nice here. It's all right. We're out in your... Speaking of smoking weed, I like this neighborhood in Pirita where you are kind of here because I used to have a dealer that lives out here. And that person was not that far from here. But being the way that people of that profession are, they didn't want me to know their actual address. such is the way. And so what they would do is they would go, all right, you're coming over. I'll just be walking around. You have to find me. So I would be walking around this, like driving around this, like kind of it's in a grid. This area here is sort of kind of very gritty. There's straight streets that are perpendicular. Yeah. And I'd just be cruising around these grids in this little neighborhood here, looking and for my person, my contact on the side of the road. And then we'd go for a little drive, have a little chat, do what you do, and then I'd leave again. So I'm, familiar with this neighborhood. It's a nice place to be.
Yeah. Would you ever consider coming out here?
No, I don't want to live fucking out here with all these fucking people here in Pitata. Why do we need? Oh, it's a nice person suburb. Why do I need to live in a rich person suburb?
It's great. Everybody know me here.
Yeah, because you're the only fucking foreigner.
No, I'm the only Chinese.
Okay.
Like I assume that if you live here, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because at least you're still you.
Okay. Right, but it's a big deal for you, is it? That you think like the neighbors know you?
It's great because like I don't lock my door like ever.
Okay, why not? It's easy to do.
Yeah, but I just don't because I have that sense of comfort. Like people know me, and
so you could just lock the door and it'd be fine. But somehow it makes you feel better
if I don't
not lock the door.
Yeah, if I have
and
that,
just know that nothing's gonna come.
Yeah,
okay.
That sense of like just ultimate security.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some Chinese Zen shit because you're like, I've got security through no security. If I don't have security, then I have ultimate. Oh my god!
Like when I first moved in here, back in
Tao. We're going Taoism right now, baby.
You're making this deep.
What? You know what?
You're making this.
I've just been reading about Tao. I think maybe that's it. Now I realize I was reading about Tao and Confucius for the last few days, and I realize now here I am talking to you, and I'm like, oh dang, I got to throw this facts into this. I found the one Chinese guy that I can talk to about this stuff.
Am I actually the only Chinese you talk to here?
I don't think I talk to any other Chinese people here.
Really?
Oh, no.
There's a lot of us now.
Is there? Really? I don't know. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody comes to your show.
Probably not, because most of them are Estonian. So, yeah. Even the English show we were just talking about, mostly it's Estonians coming to the English show.
Oh, I was going to tell you, back in 2018 when I first moved in, like it was a big deal. Like the neighbors were staring all the time.
Okay.
Especially the kids, they were not used to it. We have like a lot of family, especially young family living in the area. Especially this, like we got maybe 5 apartment building in the middle of nowhere. And around us in the whole neighborhood, I would say is mostly single family homes. And in all this apartment building is new family. It's like young families, right? Basically, there are always those 2 parents, young professional with 1 or 2 kids, 2 maximum. And all the kids, like, they're super curious. Like, when they're playing outside in the sandbox and the swing, and I pass by, like, they're normally dividing into 2 groups. Like, one group is like those, I don't know, like, courageous one. They'll say, hi, and how are you, and things like that. And there's, like, the other group, they just run away. There's no, like, hesitation. They just turn around and start running like there's demon chasing down. It was really fun. I remember there was this one little chubby kid, like living on the 3rd floor. He's still here. He was so terrified of me. He's normally like hanging out with his mom because back then his mom was pregnant with a new baby, so the mom was staying home most of the time. So he was hanging out with a chubby kid. For some reason, he's always outside in the sandbox area. And whenever I would come home, he would just start running. Like, you see, we have these fences all around the apartment.
But at least he's getting some exercise.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. But you know what? After 2 years, he finally warmed up to me. The other day, they organized this little lemonade stand, like all the North American kids do. I don't know why they started doing this as well.
No, it's like the same way that Halloween is a bit of a thing here, you know. Like it's these sort of North American things that become international.
It's getting there. But they were putting up the stand right outside the gate, and they were selling it for 50 cents a glass, which I think was a really reasonable price. They actually had like fresh lemon sitting on the side. I don't think they can make a profit, to be honest, Louis.
Did you go and present them did you go give them a critique of their business plan? Listen up, kid. I've run the numbers. All right. I don't think looking at the cost of raw materials here.
It is expensive here, those lemons. they are running quite expensive here because they don't grow locally, right? You got
using imported goods. You got to find local. Is it organic? You can't be sure. This is certified, little kid. All right.
So I was driving by that morning going to work, and I was like, well, the chubby kid is there. Let me support the business. So I just grabbed like I think it's €1 coin or two, I don't remember, but I handed over, and the chubby kid was so happy. It's the first time he didn't run away. It took over, like, he was actually behind the crowd. There was like 4 or 5 kids from the neighborhood all like standing in a line, but he was back there probably handling the finance side of the thing. But he saw me and he just squeezed his way out to the front and took like that €1. That was officially our first eye contact. Before that, he refused to look at me in the eyes. After he took the coin, he gave me like 2 glasses, right?
Okay.
It's €1.
Yeah.
So I deserve 2 glasses. But I just told him, like, Sam, I'm going to work. I don't, just 1.
Yeah.
Keep the change. Just give me 1. But he he insisted giving me 2. He's like, no, you give me €1. Here's your 2.
Professional pride. He's already got professional pride in his work.
I don't think he speak English. But he was just insisting. You know that body language?
Sure. So you got to take. So you take the 2. Yeah, what are you going to do?
I did take the 2. I was already feeling like I wanted to go to the toilet. And it's a long drive to my office from here. So I got forced down 2 giant glasses of lemonade.
Uh-huh.
And the second half of the trip wasn't easy. It's like a 25-30 minutes drive to my office from here.
You're doing it good for the kid. International relations have been
That's what I was thinking.
Improved here.
I'm not overthinking here, right? I did think about that, actually. I thought like our relationship, my relationship with the chubby kid would be unfixable if I didn't do that for him.
Hey, wow, you've really been thinking about this relationship with this child upstairs. Like, it's unfixable. Jesus.
But yeah.
It's great. You know, now he knows, you know, it's not weird. He's interacted. He's a little bit more international now. He knows what's up. It's great.
What about your neighborhood? Are you known in your area? Do people know you?
No, I don't really know my neighbors.
Do you talk to your neighbors?
No. I'm good. I mean, they're next door. They've got some kids. People on the other side, they maybe briefly say hello in English. I guess they've heard us all on the deck talking really loudly in English. I know there's some Russians upstairs.
How did you know they're Russian?
Because you can hear them speaking Russian.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. You never directly talk to them, though.
No.
Do you invite them to your apartment?
Wait. What now?
Do you invite them to your apartment?
Yeah. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
invite the neighbors in. Who the fuck? Who's this guy?
Are you serious?
No, I have not.
Not even once.
I would not. I don't usually even invite my friends to my apartment, but I would not typically think to invite my neighbors in.
Why not?
I don't know.
You just got no interest?
Well, I guess if you put it that way, no, not really. No. No, I don't feel the need to become so chummy with my neighbors. Do you feel that need?
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I actually did invited my neighbors to come in.
And they came in?
Yeah, for a cup of tea.
Wow. Oh, that's a crazy idea. Right.
No, I mean like...
Cool. Okay.
Are you not afraid of missing out?
Missing out on what?
On nice people?
There's a lot of people.
I know. That's the point. There is a lot of nice people out there.
Sure. No, I'm a bit inward. Like when I'm at home, I like to be at home. I don't want to be disturbed. I don't answer phone calls. I don't like talking on the phone. Like everybody at Comedy Estonia knows, don't talk to me on the weekend. Like I don't want to talk about any comedy, like unless it's urgent or something like that. Like, or we're just having a personal conversation. Like I don't want to hear nothing about nothing on the weekend. Mm-hmm. So I try to keep my home as my sanctuary.
Okay.
So yeah, not my rando neighbors. No, the way I work with my neighbor, I mean, maybe Estonian people, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you guys will connect with my philosophy at all, because I'm like, I don't need to talk to my neighbors, but I will project to them. But I don't mean by that be music. I mean by that I've got this reasonable sized deck, because I live on all the people on the ground floor have this reasonable sized deck. I've got like...
You on the first floor?
On the first floor, on the ground floor. I made it all nice. I cleaned it up. I put like nice flowers everywhere in pots. All these colorful flowers are growing. I got a couple of those kind of pine fir trees or whatever off to the side, making it look good. I got a new grill. I grill almost every day.
Can I cook check it out sometime?
Maybe. I grill every day. I look out over the yard where the cars are. I stand there in my Foster's apron. I cook. And I project an image to my neighbors, like, and now the neighbors upstairs, they got a grill as well.
Yeah.
Like, I let them smell that grill and just know how good that.
Do you play music when you grill?
No, not so. I try not to be so obnoxious outside.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much projection.
That's right. You don't need to. It's much more subtle if you just do it with the smell and the look.
Yeah,
instead.
that's true.
I stand there very proud, observing my domain, my nice flowers on my deck.
Wait, do you live by yourself as well? I know it's a little bit personal.
No, I live by myself. Yes.
Yeah. Is it a bigger place than this one? We got like 52 square meters.
Yeah, maybe slightly, but no, same. Let's say maybe slightly larger. I'm not sure. Not really.
I'm really happy with the size of this place.
Yeah, it's nice, man. But you were saying that people commenting you don't have enough furniture.
Yeah, I don't.
But I mean, you got a couch. There's a single seater, a 3-seater. There's a dining room table. I mean, what is it like? There's a TV. Yeah. It's just, what are you missing? Like a bookshelf, basically, I guess.
I think so too.
Okay.
And additional kind of a seating place over there at the entrance for people to lace down their.
I need that. Yeah, I don't understand these psychopaths who can do up their shoes while they're standing up. Like, don't you need to sit down to tie up your shoes?
I kneel down.
Kneel down. Oh my God.
Man.
Kneel.
Yeah.
Fucking, we got a whole load of Colin Kaepernicks over here kneeling down for.
Have you always been living by yourself, Louis?
Mostly, yeah. I haven't really. I'm not that good with relationships. If we're starting to build a pattern of my personality here, even though I do have a girlfriend, we're not going to move in just yet. I don't know. We'll see. I'm 40 and I've lived most of my life on my own, so it's kind of hard.
You're only 40?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm only 40.
You look old.
Or am I 41? I'm not sure. I can't remember. I look old.
You look old.
I always get told how young I look. What are you talking about? I'm so youthful with my energy.
I mean, the energy, yes. But your face is old.
Okay. All right. Well, that's, what the chicks like, bro.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm 28, by the way.
Okay. All right. I can't tell with the Asian, you Asian guys. So it's very hard for me to tell.
Same here. We always look the same until like at one point, 40. And you're shrinking to half size, like a raisin, But I didn't know. You have been here for such a long time. I thought like you would be way older just because you have been here for so long.
Oh, right. I mean, as time goes on, it's like...
Are you offended?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I don't give a shit.
Are you sure that when I directly say you look old, you're not offended?
It doesn't bother me.
That's cool. I like it.
It's fine.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm sorry.
Now you're making a thing out of it. You're making it weird.
Yeah, I am. Just yesterday, that girl I went to the show with.
Oh, yes.
She was telling me that I am very good at making people feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm not intentionally doing it. I think it's just a little bit too much, like you said, a little bit too much reflection. And I kind of projected that reflection and forced it on other people around me. Okay. So that's making the situation.
Is she implying that you make her feel awkward sometimes?
I think so too.
Okay.
But I don't know. Personally, I feel like it's just, I don't know, something challenging. Isn't that fun though? Like if
sure. You don't want someone to be a pushover. You don't want to, it's all right. Like, who gives a shit? What?
Let's continue. What you was going to say? I'm sorry.
I
got sidetracked a little bit. I'm sorry. By your openness, I'm sorry. Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know, apartments and where we're living in town. So we both have these apartments that we live in. You got a little deck out there, a little balcony there. That's nice. You're living here in Pirita. It's not lonely for you to live on your own in a big place like this? Yeah,
it is, man. I don't know. You live downtown. I guess, is it better?
I've now come full circle because I used to be like, I want to live in the center, be able to get to the center. But now, because for the lockdown, I was very happy that I moved to this place and I've got a deck and I have my grill and I can project to my neighbors and I can cook on my grill every single day. I literally almost every day cook on my grill. And now I'm like, I don't want to live in the city anymore. I want to live outside the center.
Would you still consider the area you're living the city?
I know, you can walk there in 20 minutes. Like, it's still kind of the center.
For those who don't know the area, it's Dundee area?
Tondi, yeah, just over near the stadium there, near the Alcock Stadium, right? You can still walk to the center. It's not really. I would happily move outside of the center now.
It's kind of like a weird timing for you to move to that area. Like, why did you move right before this whole thing started?
Well, first of all, no one knew this whole thing was starting, so...
Oh, it was right before this, right?
No, it was like 6 months ago, so... okay, not more than 6 months ago, maybe December. Or something that I moved. Why? So maybe that's more than 6 months ago.
Before that, where were you?
That's 8 months ago. Just across the train line, not very far away. Because my previous apartment, I had rented it for 9 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The same place?
The same place. Like, because they never kicked me out and they never raised the rent. So I had a way bigger, way nicer apartment that the base was only $450 a month. Okay. And that rent had not gone up in about 8 of those years.
At first, bigger. How big are we talking about?
Like, it was more like, it was on 2 levels. It was like 65 squares on 2 levels in the Vanalona 39 apartments down the street from where TransferWise and shit, if you kind of know it.
I know that place.
Everyone knows that place. Everyone knows someone who lives there. It's a huge
That place looks like a jail.
I think it was a factory once, I think, back in the day.
It's a big, imposing kind of a stone house, right?
Yeah, and the apartments are really nice on the... So I had that for 9 years. And it's almost like the real estate forgot that I was there, because the only reason they kicked me out is because the owner wanted to sell. The owner, I don't know if the owner was a foreigner or something, I'm not sure, and they decided they wanted to sell. And then the real estate agent, looked up my details, and he's like, holy shit, you're only paying $450 a month? And like, he had no idea I'd been grandfathered into that. So he arranged to get me this other apartment because it was in his best. He needed to sell, right? And sell is money, money, money. So it's in his best interest for me to get the fuck out of that apartment as soon as possible. And he's like, yo, I got something over in Tondi. You want it? I said, I'll take it. So
you wouldn't have moved if it wasn't for the sale?
Maybe not, but I should have. 9 years was too much, I admit. You got to move it up. You got to switch it up a little bit. You're like, you got to keep moving, right?
Why not buying a place?
Yeah, you and all of my other grown-up friends tell me that. I don't... To do it on my own, first of all, I've put all the money into Comedy Estonia. Like, in terms... Which I feel like is like, I'm just a business owner. I've been investing my money into my company in that way, right? So what do I own right now? Well, I own this company that has 2 shitty Volvos, and that's about all we have physically to our name. But we have a lot of good brand. So I haven't, and been doing this company for it's been 10 years, but certainly for the first 5 to 6 to 7, there's no guarantee, there's no sure sign that this is really popping yet, or that this could actually be any money, and there's still not that much money in it. So I'm not thinking about, I'm going to put down a loan and commit to that. Now that maybe, I want to say before Corona, not that the income was huge, but it was like it had stabilized out before Corona. Mm-hmm. And then everything dropped through the floor, and there was no income for 3 or 4 months, and it's not even like there's that much income again. That's why we're doing so many shows, because it's the only thing we do to make some money. Mm-hmm. But I'm just making excuses for the fact that you're right. I'm not buying a place. I think that I don't have the deposit money, and
you don't need a deposit money, man.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's like what, 5%?
So you buy a place for 100? What's about? Well, I don't know what places are worth.
It's like,
do you know?
5,000 down payment.
Okay, I got that.
Right?
That's my savings. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying I'm not there, right? But
and I'm not forcing you to.
I don't trust myself to make such a big investment. Like, I'm like, I'll probably pick a bad one, or it'll got some weird shit that'll go wrong, and there's always more money to pay on it. And like, I've never felt such a strong urge. Like, some people just have it, right? Yeah. Like, I need to go buy the place of my own. This is my castle. I've never felt that drive. Uh-huh. So yes, I agree. It might be a wise thing as I get on in age. At this ripe old age of 40, I think maybe to have my own place outside the center might be nice, but it's still not like a driving force yet.
What kind of people around you have been telling you should get a place? Like friends?
No, my friends who all own their own place.
What about family?
No, I don't listen much to them.
Dude, like,
No, well, I don't know. That's fine. No, my parents and I have an agreement. They don't offer so much advice on those
are they
things.
still in Australia?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Do they own their own house
Yes.
outright?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
You know, like for Chinese, it's a very important thing to have their own place.
Okay, that's like a big cultural thing that you guys.
Dude, they're buying out places everywhere.
Oh, you guys! I mean, with the real estate. I mean, you guys have bought up half of Australia already. Like it's
Dude, I watched like a documentary a couple weeks ago. Like people in Vancouver, they feel threatened by the Chinese investors and home buyers out there.
I think it's a common thing around the world, and I don't think it's like, it seems to me like it's not like some conspiracy from the Chinese. It's just your guys' a cultural thing. You're very astute business people, and you seem to have a love of real estate, so you get out there and do it.
What do you think is a reason behind this culture?
I don't know enough about Chinese culture to know why you guys like.
If we have to speculate, like why fucking a piece of place, like a piece of land? Why?
You mean specifically for Chinese people?
Yeah.
I have no idea, bro. I mean, I don't know that many Chinese people. I don't know if you perceive me as Mr. International, Mr. Worldwide over here. But I don't know
did you have
enough.
a Chinese friend?
Sure.
There wasn't that many Chinese back then, right? When you were growing up, it was a different time. Wasn't that many immigrants?
Right. So where I grew up as well, I grew up like 2.5 hours from Sydney in a small coastal village where, no, there weren't that many immigrants even there. So only later on, once I moved to Sydney, I was 20, between probably the ages of 20 and then 25, was I living in multicultural, cosmopolitan Sydney, and there'd be many more international people, including many Asian people there as well. So I don't really know, man. I don't know. Why? Okay, I mean, I got to throw it back to you. What do you think it is?
I think it's the things we just talked about. It's about sense of security.
Okay. And having that sense of security is an important thing in Chinese culture. Sorry.
Like I think so. I think it's one of the biggest kind of a reason for what we do. You know, like just we always want security. Whatever we do, it's always about that.
Always about security.
It's always about that because it's just life is so hard. Like we have never had a good life
in China
in the past. Like never.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
Like it was just straight from one bad place to another bad place.
You mean like with the dynasties and then the governments? Okay, then the communism.
As always, the main rhythm of the place is just mostly suffering. It's my understanding, right? I never lived in the past, but that's my understanding.
Sure.
Life is just looking up, and I think things are changing around. Things are looking up, but you know, like this thing, what we call culture, it stick around for a while. There's a little bit of a momentum to it. I guess it takes some time to catch up to like our actual.
And maybe it is. I mean, maybe everyone's relative idea of security is different. So, okay, for you guys, it's only a couple of homes it's very strong in Australian culture as well. I mean, I don't know if maybe that's the Chinese people in Australia have connected with that Australian people, like every time. If you have some people, Australians, that meet, they will start talking about their property within about 10 minutes. Australians love nothing more than talking about their property, the property prices, and how their pension fund is going. Jesus. And I could never, again, with that, I would never get behind that. Like, I just cashed out. I had a very small pension fund left from Australia. Because it's mandatory in Australia and you have to put some in, the employer has to put some in, and it's not like Estonia where they're fucking around with it and they're changing the rules every second 10 minutes, right? Australia's had this very solid pension scheme since like the 80s, I think it was introduced. So that's like 40 years of this scheme.
Has always been there?
Since the 80s. So, living memory for most working people right now. And I had some money left in it. I wasn't supposed to be able to get it till I'm like friggin' 105 or something. So, however, I noticed only offhandedly that the Australian government introduced a thing that you could cash out some of your money because of COVID. So I took the opportunity and I cashed out my pension plan from Australia.
All of it?
Well, yeah, I didn't have that much.
Jesus Christ.
I only had 10 grand sitting there. Australian money, which is like what, €7.50 or something. And once you do the conversion, so I got all that out. I'm like, yes, finally. So yeah, pension plans. Yeah, I'm never been concerned about my pension plan. I've never been concerned about real estate. I've never been concerned about, I don't know, there's other things we said people should be concerned about.
Land price. Oh, well,
land prices,
yeah, I don't know.
all that stuff. Maybe, I don't know, like that's the entrepreneur. Like it's comedy. To me, it's just like, that's what we do. We do Comedy Estonia. We run our company. We live our life the way we want to live it. And it's going to work out. So this need for security, which I appreciate, and I don't think it's strictly a Chinese thing. Okay. I can see it in my own culture, and I get it, and I think many people have it, and right on. And the things that you say are perfectly normal, that if you've come from difficult circumstances, and I think my parents had it because they were, well, my dad was off the boat, my mum was born into Australia from two people that were off the boat, after the World War II boat. Off the boat. So they had a thing. They're fresh off the boat, as you say, and they had to work and build their shit up, and they're getting properties and building all that stuff up. And I don't know. For sometimes that transfers to the next generation. For me, it didn't. I didn't get that impulse. I was just like, you know what? I can't work in an office. Don't want to do 9 to 5.
It's awful.
I think I'm just, you know what, if I can have this really interesting life and have these great friends and we're doing some mission that we're really all about, I'm like, it'll work out. We'll be all right. Like, and because it's always like, what happens? What happens if something, what if? And I'm like, you know what? We've worked it out up until now. I mean, if you just look at the Comedy Estonia thing or building this lifestyle for myself and my friends where we can do what we want to do and do the shows we want to do and run the business, and we run it all the way we want to run it, right? We've worked it out up until now. So I have no reason to believe that we won't be able to work it out for, you know, whatever comes in the future.
I think that's something that, I really admire from you. Like the reason why I invited you, like as the first guest, first, I don't have many friends to invite. And also like in the limited time we have interacted with each other, like you strike me as somebody that I really look up to, some sort of example set up for me to kind of thrive towards, I would say. I don't want to give too much compliment, but that's a general impression I got.
But and again, I'm not trying to bring the compliments to myself, not at all. But like, what bits of do you think that I'm having that you would like to have?
You know, like it's about that. I think it's the things you just described. I couldn't put into words like better than you just did. It's about that. You know, like just basically having that understanding that everything will work out. No matter how shitty the situation might look at the status quo. That's not it's easy to say it. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to just verbalize it and say, hey, this is what I believe. Like, there's a lot of those kind of like ideology floating around. But actually to embody that, actually to live it through, like, that's really hard because I don't know. You know, like it's not a lifestyle that I have like ever been introduced to before. It's not kind of mentality I was used to. Like people around me were very cautious. Like there were game plan, there were alterations, there were modifications. There are a lot of calculation going into things, you know. But I think just like what you just said, I was watching this guy, a very famous YouTuber, Casey Neistat.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I remember he told one thing in one of his video about this Tarzan strategy. He described as Tarzan strategy. Basically, he said like whenever you have a plan, like say that your goal is to go across like to the other side of the forest. Like you can't just, or another side of, I don't know, something, right? And then there's no bridge, another side of the river. So what you do is not to think like, how do I actually go there? But instead you grab the closest branch and then you swing. Like, you don't know where that branch is going to lead you to. Maybe it's got to be the middle of the river and then you fucking die. But maybe there will be another branch waiting for you somewhere out there.
Sure.
But
I think that often as well, okay, so it's not all like, okay, so if I try and analyze myself and think, how did I develop these qualities?
It's dangerous
In
if you
myself.
self-analyze.
Oh, yeah, so I've heard
Let's go.
from Dr. Wu over here. It has its trade-offs in that you just look at something and you go, what's the worst that could happen there? If I do that, so the river example is quite intense because it sort of implies that, well, if you don't catch the other branch within the river and then you die, right? Mm-hmm. Rarely in life do you just die.
That's true.
Like rarely do you just go from zero to and might be death, but it might be bankruptcy or the whole thing's gone kaput and it's all blown up. That there's usually many small steps along the way. Like the way that another example I'd give there is the way that we're all worried about corona and will the second wave come? And it's something that's certainly on my mind because I run many, many events where I'm now packing people into small rooms. Mm-hmm. This, yes, it is on my mind. Is this a risk? Now, those people are not being forced into those rooms. They clearly want to come. They've clearly made their own self-assessment of that situation. And I want to also respect that, clearly those people want to come. But I understand my responsibility in that. But people are like, the second wave's going to hit. It's coming. And it's like, the Estonian government every day releases the number of new infections every single day. So you can see if it's one, and then maybe it goes up to 2 and then 4. And if it starts going up 5, it's not going from like 1 to fucking 100 in a day. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little bit. And, over a week, it's gone up to 10 per day. And then you start going, oh, all right. Ooh, all right. So maybe we need to make some adjustments and it's still going upwards. That's how I don't think it's going to blow up in a moment. And if it does, then you've got to immediately change the plan. So you can, when proceeding towards a goal or something, you can take the smallest steps possible. Yeah. And you can just keep course correcting.
That's it.
The whole way.
That's it.
So I kind of view it that way.
Yeah, that's it.
And that it helps me very much that I have like-minded people around me. Mm-hmm. So my good friend Sander, who's one of our Comedy Estonia comedians, we think similarly about this philosophy of life, about that we just want to do our thing, and to do our thing is the most important thing. And because, he's one of the bigger talents with Comedy Estonia, I run the business and we can come at it from both sides and we both have this common set of values and that can self-reinforce one another. I'm not out here doing it on my own. Mm-hmm. I have these people around me who share these same values and together we've worked it out before and together we're going to get through it. Mm-hmm.
So this business is really important to you, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a very strong mission. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a very strong mission I take my role leading these people very seriously. Mm-hmm. I take what we do super seriously because then if it's not this, then what the fuck else am I going to do? Because I can't survive in a 9-to-5 job. And I love this so much.
How long did you do 9 to 5?
Probably did it for 2 years and then maybe another year in Sweden. So not that much. I probably would only be maximum 3.5 years if you added them all up.
The moment you got to Estonia, there was no more 9 to 5 anymore.
No, I've never had a 9-to-5 job in Estonia. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, which is the other thing. Like, that's why I was interested in the way that you said that you'd not seen that around you, because for me, Estonia enabled this perspective. I don't think this perspective of that we've got onto that I've got this philosophy of life of doing it your own way and being able to make it happen, right?
Yeah, small steps
and your own way and not needing and just relying that you've got this far on your wits and your ability that this will keep going, right? Now, I don't think I would have developed this in Australia because I would have been around that Australian environment that wants safety. So like, you know, it's be the same. If you're just in China, you're all around your Chinese family and your friends who think with this same point of view. That is extremely difficult to break out of. So ways that I were able to break out of it was, first of all, pull myself out of my own culture. So here I am in Estonia. I'm not only am I in a separate place without Australian values on me, but okay, when I'm first here 15 years ago, 12 years ago, something like this, right? We are peak startup craziness. Estonians are fresh off the boat of the Soviet Union, right? There's still a lot of enthusiasm these days, but the enthusiasm, like Estonia's growing up into, it literally is like, I mean, what is it, 25 years now? Is it 25 or 30? 25 since somewhere independence? Right, they're growing up into like a 25, 30-year-old who's stable and got their shit together and is getting there. But like, when they were nuts and they were 16, woo, they were wild with energy. And I found that very exciting. There was a certain energy to Estonia back when I was first here. Mm-hmm. And Estonia is such a small place that really there's no...
Is it? Do you feel that way too?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Huh. You don't think you...
I don't actually, but go ahead.
Okay. Let's even say with a comedy career, right? There's no mega bucks to be made in Estonia. There's no mega millions to be made here. Maybe even if you're in Finland, there's quite some money, and definitely if you're in the United Kingdom, right? There are stratospheres and high altitude of stardom and money and wealth and fame if you're a performer in the United Kingdom, right? We have none of these things in Estonia. There's no, Donald Bada, what, like who? Or Koit, what, like none of, all great acts, don't get me wrong, but none of them, we don't have a big enough population that someone can be elevated to mega superstar status, right? You can see Tunnel anywhere. You see him fucking Tunnel Bada at whatever pub, whatever in the countryside. You can see Koit at the supermarket. You know, you can see a government minister, you know, at Prisma or something, right? That's not super weird, right? We live in such a small place. So my point of all this was, when me and Sander were like planning out how we're going to make Comedy Estonia, we're like, well, there's no mega bucks here anyway. So we may as well just do what we want to do. So in that way, Estonia encouraged this circumstance.
But you guys are going to Finland too.
Yeah, not that much. I don't like it that much. I don't like Finnish people very much. No, it's just it's a boring friggin' ferry and everything costs money over there and they're bureaucratic and shit slower than it is. And we still present some international acts there. Some of the bigger stars that I have the deals, like when some of these big UK stars and we bring them to Estonia, we might also bring them to Finland through some partners there, might also bring them to Latvia with some partners there. So, yeah, but not that much. No, there is also a Comedy Latvia as well. They have a little crew of comedians who are trying to do the same thing, but my primary focus is Estonia.
Like, my question is...
Yes.
Like, in my opinion, I think first I want to say, I think the fact that it's a small country, population-wise, kind of like, is a double-edged sword. You know, first, you do get that kind of instant reaction if you do have something to offer. But at the same time, there is this threshold, like you just said, like you couldn't go mega big because it's just, you know, that's how big you can get. But,
right. And when that... And
isn't that a choice that you just made? Like, I mean, like, starting from the beginning, you should already know that, right? I think you did know that.
We did know that. Yeah, we did. I mean, this is, like, early on this occurred to me.
But you see, like, Tommy Cash, like, he went for a different route.
Sure, he's going into... Absolutely. And
right?
Because his artistic possibility, it is... I mean, the analogy that Comedy Estonia might have is that, say, Ari-Matti Mustonen has already been to Canada for a year, and we already had plans to get him back to Canada. And I really feel that if Ari can be in Canada and maybe even America,
are they all comedians?
Yeah, he's one of our main comedians. Look, if you're Estonian, you know who I'm talking about. He's killer. Like, he's amazing. and he's fluent in English, and he's young and good looking, and very, very good comedian. And if he can get back to Canada again and go, and we had plans to hopefully get him into America, and he might pop. There's a real possibility in my mind that if we can get him into North America, he's gonna pop.
That's awesome.
And that's where the money's at, and no doubt for Tommy Cash as well. He's doing those international gigs, getting bigger and bigger, and that's where the payday is.
He
and
is.
There's, if we can get Ari over there, then we can make something big. But for Sander and I, it's like we kind of have a cultural goal here as well. I mean, Sander's Estonian. He really wants to change Estonian culture. He really wants to bring this stand-up culture to Estonia, to his people, and show them this could be done. Wait, what was I talking about? So yeah, small country. So there's not much here anyway. So you may as well do what you want to do.
Yeah, I get you, man. I do. I don't know. I feel like I guess I'm backtracking a little bit to previously we were talking about what I admire about you. Yeah, we're running out on that one.
What do I admire about you? Ooh, jeez. Drawing a blank at that one. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just these... But also you've got to have this kind of thing where you're like, we're just going to do it, and we're super committed to the cause, and we really want to live this life. It does mean things like, oh, I'm not going to be buying a place. Now Sander has bought his own place, but he lives on the other side of goddamn Viljandi in some village.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives in the middle of the countryside. He loves it, right? He loves being around the fresh air and nobody there.
Does he come out for the shows and stuff?
He just drives.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's happy to drive. He's happy to drive back and forth because he loves living in the countryside so much.
Like, how do you hang out with your friends? Do you guys get it together like very often? You said like Sander is a good friend of yours, right?
Yeah, but on Saturday night we're all hanging out at Caleb's place. He's got a place at Salwa's, a bunch of comedians, so we were doing that. Or the comedy is also a different thing because we're also like hanging out at shows.
Yeah.
So that's also a little bit like, so often I won't go and do any other social things because I'm already exhausted because it's performing and it's social and yeah, so we're quite social already at shows, like our thing is.
I see that. Like after the show, I feel like everybody's energy kind of plummeted a little bit.
Yeah, it's normal, right?
Yeah,
unless you're going to kick on, and also the guys have just been finishing the summer tour, so with that as well, you need to, if you want to do something like this, you have to also like accept that you're not going to be rich, and like most people think in their minds they're going to work and get some wealth behind them, get a place, we're going to get a car, we're going up the ladder, like to just go like, to just look around and go, this is all okay. Like there's actually nothing else that I really kind of want. Like, I mean, obviously there's some things that I would like, but like I have a place to live, my car goes, I'm doing comedy with my friends. I'm pretty good. I don't know. I have a Nintendo, like, you know.
Do?
Oh, yeah, I've got lots of Nintendos. Like, to not chase material stuff or wealth or things and to just be fine with what's happening. I think that's a big part of it.
I first saw you on a commercial.
Okay, which one?
The one you as a pilot.
Oh, yeah, Work in Estonia. Yeah, years and years ago.
I hated that one.
Oh, my God. I didn't give you a very good impression.
You were such a tool, bro.
I was such a tool on the ad?
I really hated you.
On the ad's an ad. I'm acting.
I know. Your acting was such a tool. Like, your character was I'm so sorry, but back then I remember I was watching this with my ex. And I was like, this guy, God. And she was the one who told me that, no, he's actually really famous. He's like, he's doing stand-up, local comedian. I didn't know who you were. Okay. I was like, no, I don't like this guy. It's not.
And then you come to the show, and then I'm doing Chinese jokes, and you don't like it.
It's one of the first line openers. I think you open with that.
Yeah.
One of the first things we went inside, and I already didn't like the place. I already didn't like the venue. It was a place right under the next to the Viru Gate, into that small alley across the street from McDonald's.
Was that Cineland?
Yeah,
maybe down there.
I think it was over there. It's kind of like,
was it a big hall, like quite the high stage and kind
yeah,
of long,
yeah. You gotta walk through like a long corridor. It was dark and it was a little bit damp in there. I don't know. The moisture got me all pissed off. And we bumped into my ex girlfriend's ex, so it was like fuck. The night was like really wasn't looking that good. And I was like, nah, we're in a comedy show, man. We go inside, we're like ready to be entertained. And then the first thing I fucking heard was like how not funny Chinese people are. And you know, like growing up, like I guess a sense of humor is not a priority. You know, it wasn't something that I really want to explore. It wasn't even like promoted by my parents. Like, you know, you do your thing, like.
So you think that's? I mean, it's not like my parents were promoting a sense of comedy, but do you think?
But it was
is it a greater Chinese culture thing or something? How does comedy fit into Chinese culture? It's something I don't understand at all. Humor and as you kind of say, this thing extend that past your family to your culture. Yeah, how does it fit?
I think it was a little bit more. I would say like people don't appreciate it that much. At least like people are not like really trying to squeeze something out of you, you know. And people don't like. And you know, whenever I watch some stuff about like on YouTube or whatever, whenever some girl got asked like, what are you looking for in a guy? If it's a white girl or a black girl or anybody besides Chinese, they know like good sense of humor, right? You never hear that from Chinese girls. Not a sense of humor. You don't need to be funny at all. You better not be funny. So like,
what would be the qualities a Chinese girl might say?
Let's hold on to that for a sec.
Sorry, yes.
But you know, we all have this one or two book growing up. It's like the legendary book everybody have to read. I don't know what about those in Australia, but back home there was this one book. It's about this guy who is always happy. Okay. And the reason why he's always happy is because he kind of like told him to be happy because his life day to day, his reality was really miserable. He was bullied on a daily basis. He was like he was jobless, homeless. He didn't have like a place to stay, so he lived in a temple, a Buddhist temple, and he had to like, you know, wear the same clothes year round. And this guy was the funniest guy I know growing up. He had a great sense of humor. Like really, he went out, he was gambling with a bunch of guys on the roadside, and he lost all his money. The money that he could buy a proper place to live or rent a place to live at least. And then that guy who was gambling was just like got up and left with the money, ran away. And to counter that kind of a trauma, he was just telling himself, nah, I don't need that money. That money wouldn't do me any good. I feel better now. You know what? But I still want to beat that guy up. Like, what can I do? So he beat himself up in the face and he said, now I know what that ping might feel like on that guy. So he's this kind of like self-entertaining character trying to resolve his own problems through comedy. But that guy was the most miserable character for us. Like it was being taught to us, don't be like this guy.
Don't be, okay.
Don't entertain yourself. If somebody gets your stuff, you fucking stab. No, not like that. But you go for what you want. It was that kind of a dog eat dog kind of mentality we've been taught. Like this self indulgence is kind of a intoxication or self hypnotization. It's not good for you. Don't do comedy. You don't need that.
Right.
If you laugh at yourself, that's not good. Self-deprecation. Don't you ever say anything bad about yourself. I might be misquoting it, but I think Bruce Lee said something like that. Don't ever say anything bad about yourself because it might become true. It's not good.
Is this building it up like you were saying before that the Chinese have always felt oppressed and always felt down? You've always been mostly...
No, I didn't say that. You said that.
I didn't? No, you said you were looking for security before.
Yeah.
And that you've... Or not. Did I misinterpret
that's
what
true.
we're saying there?
We are looking for security.
Right.
And I think that's a saying. Like, we're not really looking looking for security through like comedy, not through humor. It's it's more material.
Trying to draw on the limited knowledge that I have of Chinese culture to sound intelligent here.
No worry, man. Take a second.
Is it? It'll be okay. So it just sort of didn't come out in Chinese culture. Okay. Is it a? I was thinking. Okay, I'm just drawing at things, trying to work out. I'm trying to pick off the things that I know and think, is it a class system thing?
No. Wait a second, Louis. I got a question. What is comedy good for? What is humor good for? Tell me that. Like, if somebody just come out to you, this guy has been living a cave for his entire life. He doesn't know anything about our society, and he come out. He heard you making a joke, and he got this question. It's this burning question, like, what is humor good for? You said a funny line, so what?
Okay, I would say it's good for entertainment.
Okay, why do I need that?
Because I think there might be something inside of humans. Humans like to entertain one another. Then I think we have no better example of that of what's happening in the world right now, that all the mass media and all that shit we all just watch the same 2 TV stations for years. And now we watch YouTube where it's people farting and cats jumping up and down and people doing whatever. Like, clearly humans have some desire to want to entertain one another. And maybe we can take that all the way back to sitting around the campfire and when you're cavemen and telling stories, and we want to entertain. So there's some need for entertainment in a human's life. So humor can form one part of that. It could just be straight up entertainment with nothing. Secondly, I think it can be possible to wrap up ideas in humor that make them more palatable and digestible to people. You can make a point with a joke that maybe people might not have thought about before. True. But in our mind, like, I'm trying to go back to my 18-year-old or even before that. I don't think there was any kind of voice like what you just said. There wasn't there. It wasn't there. Like, what is entertainment for? It was frowned upon. Like, you don't need to be entertained. You're here to be productive. It's a low life. It's hedonism. It's about all those enjoyment, all those kind of happy moments, all this like need of being entertained. It wasn't good for you. Is this something that you think has always been in the Chinese culture, or is this some more recent byproduct of communism?
I really don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, like, for real. I don't know. But for a kid, let's say for me, I couldn't speak for anybody else, right? But for me, growing up in that environment, it was I wouldn't use the word toxic, but toxic. Like, because for a kid growing up, you want to have fun, right? But you're constantly told, like, having fun or being entertained is dangerous, or even worse, bad for you.
Is there an explanation why it's bad?
Well, at least from my parents, it means you're not being productive. You're not progressing. Okay. If you're just so caught up in being entertained, what is that doing for you? Whenever, like, I remember this one instance in middle school when I was like just telling I think it was my math teacher, right? One time, algebra teacher. She was really happy with how I performed in the math class, but she told me I should be present in the class more, because whenever I finish my assignment or whatever, I'll just zoom out. I'll be sitting in the corner. I'll probably like play some game on my Nokia or whatever back then. And that was me. I think if I done my part, if I perform like I'm required to, now I earn the right to relax or, do whatever I want with my time, right? Even though I'm in that system, I'm still in the classroom. But she was really unhappy about it. She's like, nah, if you've done your part, now do more. Like, there's no end to this. You can always be better. Like, why can't you be better? Be a little bit more. Like, now you're good, but are you the best? Like that's the kind of tone that kind of set up for that competition that is coming up in life. You know, like I don't know where's the end to that. It's always, there's always better. There's always somebody there's 1.3 billion people. I think 1.4 now. There's so many people. And back then I remember telling her, I said like, I'm pretty happy for being like top 10 in our class, right? And she just really quiet and kind of looked disappointed and looked at me and she said, you know what? You know how many school we have in our district? There's more than 20 school. You're top 10 here. But you're not top 10 in the district. And do you know how many districts are there in the city? There's like 13 districts. You're not top 10 in the city? You know how many cities are there in the province? You're not top 10 in the province? You know how many provinces in the country? So you see what I mean.
Is it, okay, is there some feeling of, what do you say, like zero-sum game in the culture? Like if like the idea of I have something, then you don't have something. Definitely. Is there something about that in Chinese culture that you have to get it? Like there won't be enough for all of us.
Everything is being promoted through the idea, the construction of the idea, scarcity. It's about things not being enough for anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of framed the whole thing. Put everything together.
Sure. That there's so many of you, or that's how they presented it, that you need to get it because otherwise someone else will get it and there's not enough.
Which is no longer true anymore. If we're just looking at the reality of it, nobody really starved to death these days. At least I don't.
So China's getting a middle class, right?
Yeah, I don't.
A reasonable middle class.
I don't think people are actually starving to death anymore. There's like a certain level of living standard being built up. Like there's a safety net. At least you can eat.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a great achievement if you're looking at the population. But still, something's lacking behind. It's that mentality.
Sure. So and you've got this deep social pressure to perform, we want to move up. It's a status thing. I mean, okay, so what else? What other things do I know about Asian people as I've gone around? So we talked about the real estate thing, that they want to do that. How about gambling?
I'm glad you brought it up, Louis.
Some of the... Because, I mean, the Chinese guys that I know fucking love it.
It's like, so true. How did you know about it?
Okay, when I was at university, to make some money, so this was like the year, I want to say around the year 2000 or something. To make some money, I used to like sell computers, just put the bits together.
Yeah.
Like this is back before, when you could, like a kid could still make money. Just
what time was it?
2000.
Okay.
So just putting bits of a computer together, selling them to either people or the companies. And I literally had an ad in a newspaper, like a printed newspaper saying, hey, I'll just come and fix your computer. You know, like, like that's when you could still get away with that shit. And so I had all these like customers around Newcastle, this town where I lived. And I would just go, they call me up, hey, my CD-ROM doesn't work. So I go pull out the CD-ROM and see what's up, maybe replace it.
That's great.
And yeah, one of the customers was this Asian guy. I think he was a Chinese guy.
Yeah.
Clearly had a lot of money. He didn't give a shit. He was just like, he wanted the best computer. And he would tell us, me and my friend Steve would go over there to help. And he would tell us these stories about, like he was just banned from the casino in town. Like they just would like, and he wasn't even cheating. Like he was just that good at it that they fucking, and he would just have envelopes of cash in his drawers, and that's what he would pay us with. And that kind of piqued my interest. And then also in living in Sydney with a very big Chinese and Asian, greater Asian population, we have a couple of big casinos in Sydney, and just seeing how
it's illegal there.
Yeah, we have Star City Casino. It's a huge casino down on Sydney Harbour there, and seeing some of those Chinese rollers there, like so I've seen that, and yeah, I mean, I guess I would have some Chinese friends in Sydney, and they talk about this family member was like this, and
like how do you feel about gambling personally?
I don't gamble.
never piqued your interest.
Not really. I mean, maybe I've done it once or twice, but never piqued my. I get no delight or thrill from the gambling.
How come?
Don't know. It's like I could win. I could win, but I'll probably lose. So, like, maybe if we're in like some big casino and there's all the slot machines and shit, sure, whatever. When you're in Las Vegas, great. Go down and put even $50 into the slot machines because that's a thing to do, right? When you're in Vegas. But I ain't there pulling the lever because I'm trying to win big or something like that. Like, it just, I'm just, doesn't excite me to think that I don't get excitement from knowing I might lose my money like that.
I get what you mean, but I don't know. I really don't know.
How do you feel about gambling?
But Chinese people love gambling, man. For real. I know it. I know it. Like, we also have this kind of, I'm a little bit nervous, right?
In general as a person or now?
I mean, like in general as a person, right? Yeah. I'm a little bit, I don't know what's the word for it. Neurotic.
Okay, could be.
I don't know. Like I'm always kind of thinking a little bit too much. But I think I'm not that obsessive with things. But a lot of people I know from back home, they can get obsessive very easily. I think it's also kind of connected to that thing we talked about, like security and sense of attachment to material beings and whatever. I really don't know. They really get carried away when they gamble.
Do you feel the urge to gamble?
I don't even want to touch it because I know if I'm going to touch it, I'm done. I will never come back again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then so what the simplistic explanation that we might have, or like in Australia, like with our Chinese population, and then seeing that, okay, those Chinese guys, they're into their gambling, right?
Yeah.
There's two other observations we would also see. It's like Chinese people were very interested in gold, whether it being a status symbol to show it or somehow the Chinese guys had a lot of gold on. They were interested in doing that. And then also that, the explanation that was given to us is that it's also the concept of luck is strong in the Chinese culture and what, I'm not sure if it's spiritual or wherever it goes. Like, so somehow the gambling is tied into that. Like, you believe that you're lucky? Is that a thing?
I don't know. It's kind of like, remember we just started off talking about like how I enjoy not locking the door when I feel like I can. It's about exploring all the possibilities. Like, where is the boundary? That kind of like, I really want to poke around to see where the boundary ends. When I'm gonna exhaust all my luck, all my blessings. I want to exhaust it. It's about not wasting any of that. It's kind of like you take luck as some kind of a cake. It's like, I gotta eat all of it. Okay. I can't throw it away. It's a blessing. You don't throw away your blessing. So let's try until it runs out.
That's interesting then, that you can then, so if you say that broadly, let's say just for this supposition, that the Chinese people are super interested in luck and super interested in using that. It's
about utility, efficiency, all that stuff.
Right, because then I'd be like, well, then what's the connection with wanting so much security, which might be an cure to luck, almost in a way, or an opposite of luck. You want security, but then we're also highly excited by luck.
I think they're like two sides of a coin,
That is super yin and yang.
When you don't have luck, what do I have?
Security.
At least I have security.
Security, right?
That's another cake. When I don't have security, I rely on luck. There's something I can kind of lean on, right?
Sure.
If there's nothing, like, what do I got? Like, nothing now.
It's a little Taoist in here. A little bit, a little bit
I don't know, man. I don't know. But definitely, like, remember you asked me, I kind of like did an answer to that. What are Chinese girl looking for?
Yes.
I still remember it. My parents always tell me like I would never find a girlfriend in China, which is probably true.
Because why? Because
first I'm like ugly by Chinese standard. Like, I'm not joking, Louis.
Okay.
Like
You look fine to me, but hey, I'm not a Chinese woman.
I'm fugly.
Really?
By
So I'm
Chinese
not a
standard.
Clearly, I'm not a Chinese woman then.
I really don't know why, but everybody was like telling me that growing up. Like, you fucking ugly, dude.
Wow.
Like, they're also straightforward. That's
Yeah,
what
you seem fine to me, but
another merit of Chinese people. I think I'm great, but my opinion doesn't matter. It's about other people. It's about all those like half of 1.3 billion Chinese girls, right? They don't think I'm attractive. You know why? Like, we have a very different sense of aesthetics. Back home, like, I think it's more, K-pop.
Sure.
You know what kind of K-pop aesthetic is that? Like, they have like dyed hair and they do makeup and they have like more of a feminine kind of a vibe going on. Okay. Those guys, the skinny type, you know, like very.
So
slender.
not like you're a little athletic. You've been working out at the gym.
Yeah,
this is not
that's not generally considered attractive. No.
Interesting, because I mean, obviously the opposite is the West, right?
Yeah.
Where that is.
Like, why do you need to be muscular if you don't have to do hard labor?
Yeah. Okay. See, now we're bringing it back to that old used to be peasants thing and still breaking out of that mindset.
Things are changing. I'm not saying that
sure.
this is a definite thing. I'm pretty sure there are 1 or 2 Chinese girls who find me attractive, right? But I'm just saying, like, a large proportion of them, they don't appreciate it. Like, I'm bald. It's by choice. Still, bald is not cool. You gotta have those, like, really fancy hair. All kinds of things going on, like the bang or whatever. You gotta do something with it.
So this is the next reflection. Yeah, it's about the showing of status. And hopefully I'm not sounding rude in that way, but that like observation of Chinese.
You can't be rude. I just told you look old.
That's
so we're good.
That observation I made of Chinese people in Sydney, they're rolling around in them high-end cars. They're showing their gold. They're going to the casino. You know, if they're of that wealth, right? If they've got the money, they're definitely showing it. And okay, there's something about showing it. There's something about status and displaying that status.
We're like Russian of Asia.
You sure it's not because you guys really had a class system when you still kind of do, but you know?
I don't know, to be honest.
So you want to be seen to the next class?
I really don't know. I think if there were one, or if there is one, I'm not interested. I don't even want to look into it.
You're not. We know that.
No. I don't even want to look into it because it's just kind of nasty if you think about it. You know, like nowadays, having that, even having a lingering of that, like it's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. You know, I don't know. First, I'm still going back to what we talked about. Why Chinese girls like wouldn't like me and what are they looking for in general? First, I'm ugly. Second, I don't have anything like material wise, right? To get married in China, you need to have an apartment. That's number one. You gotta have a BMW or Mercedes or Audi. At least that's the standard for the middle class, right? If you're in the countryside, maybe something local. I don't know. Honda. But yeah, you need to have one car, one apartment, something to give to the girl's family as well, I believe. A stable job. Yeah. A 9 to 5. You know, back when I was growing up, my parents always want me to become, what is that called? Civil servant? Is that
working for the government?
Yes. Yeah. That is what we call an iron bowl.
Meaning, the most stable job.
Yeah, the most stable of them all.
Yeah.
Because the government is stable.
Right.
So anybody who works for the government naturally becomes stable. And we call it the iron bowl because, you know, like we like rice and the rice are coming bowls. And, you know, iron bowl means it never can be broken. You always have your scoop of rice, whatever happens, right? Okay. And that's one kind of job that people want to have. Second is being a civil servant. Second, police. Okay. Law enforcement, work for the government. So again, related to the government.
Very respectable job, man in uniform, status.
Police officer.
Okay.
And then the final one, I believe, is teacher.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Or doctor. Or any kind of those like very old school professional. All those kind of jobs. They have been sold to me by my parents, by my friends, by my family, by the school teacher. If you're a good student, you pursue one of those career and you come out and your life will be set. That's like the biggest dream of my parents. I'm the only kid, right? Like all the other kids in China. we're all single we're all the single kid for quite a long time.
Right, yeah, okay.
So they put so much hope on me. If I can achieve that, they will be super happy. But they didn't realize I'm fucked up in the head growing up.
Now, okay, you're the only child as well. As much as I've understood, with all respect, that it was a matter of biology as to why I'm an only child, not a conscious choice by my parents. As much as I've understood, they couldn't have any more. Not that they didn't want to have more.
All right.
So there's that, where yours was more socially mandated, let's say.
I guess so.
Right.
Like they could pay a fine and still have a second one. Actually, we're talking about having a second one. But, you know, like there was this herd kind of mentality. Like if everybody else is having one, me having two is like standing out too much. And that's got catch too much unnecessary attention, right?
The friends of mine who, let's say even who, there's 3 children in the family. There's a very common story goes that the eldest one got all the shit from the parents. The eldest one never has a good relation with mum and dad. Maybe one more than the other because they got pushed. They were the first one. It was mum and dad's trial run. And then the second gets it easier. And then the youngest, the third, gets everything.
I wouldn't know, man.
Right, no, but I'm just saying what I've observed from friends of mine as a broad generalization, right? That parents, as the children goes on, they chill the fuck out. They get a little better at parenting, which is that to me must be obvious sense. That your second child, you're a bit better.
Yeah.
You know how it works. You know how to do it better from the beginning. You've got a clean slate. You've already got somewhere with one child.
Yeah.
So if you've got a whole country full of only children, so it's not just that, all the hopes and dreams are on one child, but a whole country full of parents who have no second chance at parenting.
Exactly.
You've got no middle children.
Exactly.
No youngest child who got off easily.
Yes. Yes, that is the case. And you know what's funny? Now the government say you can't have 2 kids.
They do say that now. You can do that. Okay.
Now you can have 2 kids. It's encouraged to have 2 kids because we're facing the same problem like Japan's having now.
What's that population?
Like it's the aging society.
Right. Okay.
Not enough labor force anymore.
Yeah.
So the government is saying, hey, you know what, guys, start make a little bit more, baby. Not too much. Don't go crazy.
Just one more.
2.
So the second kids.
Yeah, we'll give you the opportunity to do 2. But here's the thing, man. They don't want to anymore. Like the head is fixated on 1 now. And we're so proficient. We're so good at managing 1 kid. Nobody want to venture out and say what 2 kids gotta be like. Because now my parents' generation are approaching an age where they can have grandkids, right? And they have been telling their kid, aka me, you gotta have 1 kid. Don't take 2. It's too much. You can't handle that. Do you know how hard that was?
So I don't know. Yeah.
Do you know how hard that was? They don't know what it feels like to be 2. So playing back into our mentality, playing it safe, right? Playing it safe, playing it as comfortably as possible. Let's just stick with the old fashioned. Let's stick with the old tradition. Having 1 kid. Never do differently, man.
Sticking to tradition. That's the interesting part. Because to me, the little that I know isn't that one of the major tenets of Confucianism? What Confucius used to teach. He was all like, yo, China was better so Confucius is living whatever BC shit, right? And even then, he was all like, yo, shit was better before. And Confucianism is all about like going, yo, everything was better before. And that's been, as much as I have read in my limited research, to know it's been one of the major philosophies that influenced China for the last 2 millennia. A philosophy that says, yo, shit was better before. So you develop this conservatism through your culture.
Louis, I think you're on point. And I think like one of the things I look up to white people, I'm sorry I say white people.
I don't give a shit. Great.
But one of the things I look up to white people is like you're not, like people say white people are arrogant. You guys are not arrogant. You learn. And you don't have that imperative to say that we are the best in the past. Like we're just always learning. right? Whatever works for us, we take it in, we incorporate it. People call it cultural appropriation. It's not. Like, it become a part of you, right? It's adding things on and you internalize it and things work. And the epitome of that is all this like industrial revolution. Things change for you, not because you just like figure everything out yourself. Well, the recording stopped, but we're still on this.
Oh, right, yes.
I think the battery died or some shit.
On your GoPro. Oh,
It
that's
doesn't
what
matter.
it was. Doesn't matter. We've got the audio.
We're
It's
doing
great.
a little bit too long, but it's great. I don't want to end it right here. But yeah, you guys always have this kind of patience and this respect and this kind of urgency to learn things from other people, whoever that might be from. Other white people, black people, Asian people, whatever. Whoever can teach you something, I think there's always this kind of a willingness to learn. But, you know, like growing up, I hate one narrative being pushed by all the teachers. It's like, you can learn from white people, from other people that is not Chinese. But you know what? By core, you're Chinese. You can't change that. Never change that, because that's the best. We're the best. The reason why we're learning, I don't know why we're learning, but you know, something is not working. But you know what? Don't forget this thing. You're the best. In the core, you're the son of the dragon. Like, keep it a secret between all the Chinese, you know, don't tell anybody else. That will make you arrogant, but you know it. There's actually one thing that really drastically changed Japan. It was Meiji Restoration. At that time, they opened up everything. They learned from the West. They started to do the whole industrial revolution themselves as well, developing like manufacturing and all that, right? They literally become like one of the strongest nations in Asia back then. But China, they were different. They were just learning a little bit, kind of like, you know, we're progressive, we're okay. But then by core, they're still sticking to the same thing. They still have this kind of a deep-rooted, some sort of arrogance, thinking we're the best. Because there's just a little bit more nuance. There's a little bit more subtlety to our culture, which there isn't.
You don't think? I mean, at least, to present something of the other side.
Why am I shitting so much on Chinese? I'm sorry.
Your culture does go back further than most of ours. Right. You've got, you can kind of trace it.
Oh, really?
Well,
so they say.
So they say.
Yeah.
I don't know how you see that, because I would look at Western culture, or culture, let's say in Europe, and go like, okay, just before Christ, for like 500 BC and shit like that, there's the Roman Empire. Then around the 0 BC or something, the Roman Republic, then the Roman Empire. And then Rome just fucking went, and the empire collapsed and it went away. And we had this thing called the Dark Ages, where it's just basically no one was writing shit down in that time. And so we sort of see this as disjointed parts of our European evolution, where, okay, we know at the same time as the Romans, that's when the Han dynasty was kicking off, and they were...
Dude, you're really reading a lot about history.
Well, actually, this is going to be my point.
Yeah.
That you talked about Western people like just learning things, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that I know about, I can say, oh, I know what Taoism is, and I know what Confucianism. Because literally in the last 3 days, I've been listening to a podcast on philosophy, and they had an episode on Taoism and Futsi, whatever that guy's name, and then Confucius, who they both kind of lived at the same time, and they had opposite but competing and different views on.
Yeah.
And their philosophy was all like, because then it was where Greek philosophers of the time, the ancient Greeks and shit, they were all like, oh, metaphysics, and what is a tree made up of? Is it made up of atoms? Is it earth and wind and all this shit, right? That's what the Greeks went on. Where, as much as I've read, the Chinese were like, yo, our country's fucked right now. We've got the dynasty's gone down. We need to explore new ways of government. So the philosophies were built around the best ways to make a government and to organize a people. And so that shit's happening. You've got the Han dynasty at the same time that the Roman Empire is up. And I know Han eventually went away as well, and but okay, I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm just regurgitating shit that I heard on podcasts.
No. I think it's really great. You talked about length of this civilization thing, which I think is just the whole thing about civilization is it's a rotten fruit, man. Like the longer time it exists, the worse it gets.
Yours is, or do you mean in general, or you specifically mean Chinese?
I don't know. I'm making this thing up right now.
Sure,
I got no idea what I'm talking about. This is getting too fucking deep. Like, but for real, like I don't know. I have a lot of things that I really I don't know. I haven't been back home for 9 years now.
Okay.
Not even once. Do you go back to Australia often?
I'm probably 5 years since I went back, something like this. Yeah.
I'm trying to distance myself, man.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm trying to distance myself because I know how much baggage I have with me. Like, I know how much of those toxic things that my math teacher from middle school is still lingering on in my system. Like, I still feel very competitive. I still feel the urge to prove that I'm better than you. You know, like, it's always there. I'm afraid of it.
It's very difficult because it's sort of like it almost sounds like you and this takes you to this introspective place.
Yeah.
But it takes you almost in a second guessing kind of way, though.
Yeah. It's not healthy. It's in no way healthy. But now,
so the original attributes are not healthy.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that also the questioning and trying to get rid of it also isn't healthy.
They're both not healthy. But that's the only medicine I can have to myself. It's giving somebody poison to counterbalance a poison that is already in your system.
Jesus. Okay.
I don't know if it make any sense.
No, I get it. It's heavy. It's deep. It's heavy.
But plus, like, my parents have been asking me to go back home, and they're like, check it out. Things are different now. We have actually, I can't recognize my hometown anymore. Everything got torn down and being rebuilt and all that. General construction everywhere in the country. They've been asking me to go back home, but I'm just really afraid. I don't know about your reason of not going back. I think you have your reason as well. It's not just a coincidence, I assume.
I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to get away. You might say I was running away from my parents and what I perceived as the kind of life that they had that I didn't want to have. And then that just put some fire inside of me that just kept on going and going and going and going. And then I ended up in Estonia and went, okay, this is enough.
But there is a reason for you not to visit at all in the past 5 years, isn't it?
It's just too far away. No, that would be more pragmatic. It's too far away. That's pragmatic.
You wouldn't mind going home if it was convenient.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I would go home. I would like to go home this December, but I don't think that's practical.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I just thought maybe. No, it's just because you gotta, like, I'm running a company.
Yeah.
And I took 3 weeks away in February this year. And before that, I'd taken 2 weeks away. But you can't even go to Australia for 2 weeks. What are you going to do? Travel for 24 fucking hours?
You want to stay a little bit longer, eh?
Well, it's just not even like you travel for 24 hours to get to Australia. Then you got to adjust to the time zones. Then you got to see everyone. You got to do that. And you got to do another 24 hours to get back. Like, it's just not, I don't think 2 weeks is really practical.
I went to New Zealand 2 years ago in 2018. It was beautiful. I don't know if it's the same vibe in Australia, which I assume it is.
No, they're way cooler in New Zealand.
Is it?
They're like Australians, but not cunts.
I think I heard that joke before. But yeah, it was beautiful. I loved it. It was a long way from here.
Long ass way.
For real. Now, for me to go back home is quite easy, actually. I go across the sea to Helsinki and then one flight directly to my hometown.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah, 8 hours. But I'm just, first, I'm worried about those emotional kind of hurdles I have to go through. And the second is just I kind of miss home. I miss the place I grew up in, but now knowing that it's no longer there, it worries me too. I don't want to go back to a place that I can't go back to anymore.
I think you've got to do it. I think at
one point, I have to pull the plug and do it.
I think because what it's doing is it's rolling around in your brain, existing as
constantly
as potential. Yeah. Like this is, and you've got a fear that if I do that, I might regress back to old ways. I think that can be a very universal thing. If I go back to my town, I'm going to be like I was when I was a kid. But you're not. You're not that person anymore. You're not. You're stronger. You're not going to instantly just
snap back.
Yeah. I don't. I think it's a very, very human way to feel the way you're feeling.
Yeah, man. Have you ever been to China? You've been to Japan quite a few times, eh?
Yeah, but not. Maybe I transited through China. That's about it.
Uh-huh.
Only once because I took like South China Air or some shit to Australia, and
Is it bad?
well, yeah, only that they didn't tell us that we had to transit through somewhere, and that when we transited, we technically had to visa in and then visa out of China
awesome.
again. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I should have paid the 200 euros extra and gone on Finnair. So no, I have not actually formally experienced the delights of China.
You won't hurt my feeling, but you don't want to go to China. Not even visiting, right?
No, it's like,
I'm
sure, why not? Yeah. I mean, I have no opposition to going to China. Sure, if that's a place to go and see.
Don't
go.
Okay.
Okay.
Stick with Japan.
Okay.
I go to Japan every year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like I lived there 3 years, but now I still go back every year. I love their eye drops. I love their
I love all that shit, yeah.
yeah, I love sushi over there. I love ramen. Like I go crazy on ramen over there. I think last time we talked a little bit about that on your podcast or just in personal conversation. Like it's kind of like a very personal place to me. Over there, I can be surrounded by people while feeling isolated in my own space. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think I could definitely appreciate that. I do that as well.
Yeah.
I've resigned myself that I won't be getting back there. Well, not this year, because if you go like end of the year, it's probably still not a good time to travel.
I think so too.
Probably right.
Yeah, I agree.
But then by this time next year, Japan's got the Olympics, so that's also not a good time to go to Japan.
Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I don't know. Who knows? Mind you, they were pretty fucking crazy about it this year. So, I mean, unless we all go second wave, then I reckon it probably will.
I still have friends over there. These things are not looking good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because they like just completely underreported all of their statistics, and then finally they admitted the Olympics are off, and the next day the numbers shot up when they actually started to report them correctly.
Are you worried these days about like coronavirus in Estonia?
Not in Estonia, no. It may be something that you're not used to. People are not used to a foreigner saying, but I'm quite happy with the way the Estonian government's dealt with everything.
Awesome. Me too, actually.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, do I love Yuri and do I love Helma running the thing? Not particularly,
Okay.
but you know, overall, the state that we're in. Like we were commenting, like I was mentioning this on stage last night, but right now Estonia might be one of the best places in the world to be a comedian. Mm-hmm. That's nuts. It blew my fucking mind when I started thinking about it. Right, like you don't ever think that that's going to be a thing, but yeah, we did 51 shows or whatever in July. Like no one's doing 51 shows for a population of 1 million people.
That's awesome.
Start breaking it down, like. Like it's not. Yeah.
Did you guys go to small places as well?
Yes. Summer tour went to some really. Yeah.
What's the smallest place you went to?
Voru, Vosu. Where's the guy? Guys went out to. They went to Kuressaare.
How was the attendance in Voru?
All of the shows were full. It's bananas.
Oh Jesus!
Because not only are the guys like Sander and Mikael and Ari getting more and more popular as time goes on, but right now no one else is entertaining them. Mm-hmm. There's the bands and the entertainment, and there's certainly no festivals. That if you're anywhere outside of Talentato, there's fuck all to do. And it just seems people aren't getting out there, and we're like, guys, just go entertain. There's people out there, they want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And we're the ones who would actually go. So I think it's a double, those two reasons combined.
That's awesome, man. Wow, we're doing 1 hour 40 minutes. I think that's more than enough for us.
Is it? Okay, that's fine. Because, for me, I'll go forever. Like
I love it.
But it's fine. I got to keep them shorter as well.
I really love it.
But definitely, look, I have definitely noticed that podcasts don't get going for 45 minutes. Like, just consider that as you're doing your thing.
I was really hoping for it, but nah.
Yeah. Like, even the first, if you listen to the 30 minutes of this, we're sort of still getting in, we're settling in, we're talking this topic, and it's probably somewhere around the 40-minute mark that we actually zone in on topics that were interesting and really stick at one topic for a while.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't mind the long format. It's just like, next time I will set up the the whole place a little bit more comfortable.
That's all good. We're good, man. No, you're doing your pod. Just do it, right? This is the number one thing with any creative thing. It's just do it. Like, I tell the Comedy Estonia community, don't even fucking talk to me. You've done 50 episodes. I don't know nothing until you've done 50, right? Just turn them out. I don't care and I don't care what dog shit they are either. Just do them. Because that's how you'll get better. I don't think about your format and where are we going to monetize it? Oh, no, just do it.
I like that.
The way I think about with Comedy Estonia, to us it's extremely clear that the podcasts are what have, I would say, multiplied the fame of these guys. Ari and Mikael, Tusi Suyad, big, the most popular podcast in Estonia, and really the first podcast to really pop in Estonia. Like they've made podcasts pop, and they're crazy popular from it. You can see Daniel and Roger's podcast, Paikas Yankud. They're getting the fans, right? People are able. A certain demographic is really into them. And Dissident with Mariana and Silikadri. Okay, the girls, they're right into it. They've got their thing, and because the way I think about it, like if you listen to a podcast a couple of times and you're like, yeah, that's not bad, I'll probably listen to another one. Like you've literally listened to this person for hours. Like that's got to have a long-term psychological effect.
Definitely. While you're brainwashing them, eh?
Yeah, that if you're happy, I appreciate that you want to listen to what's going on. Like, and if you've listened to if you listen to those guys talk for hours, like you're probably like, yeah, those guys were all right. I might want to come and see a bit more of them. And people get an idea of your character. So when they see you on the stage, that you've got more depth to them because they know about who you are. I mean, why do we go nuts for the famous comedian? Because we love him. We want to see that person. It's the same thing. So to me, doing a podcast, as if you're any sort of public figure, it's a slam dunk because it's not, you don't monetize the podcast. The podcast, if you want to bring it back to some fucking marketing speak, is about brand loyalty. That it's about people are investing in your personality.
It's a channel to connect.
And then the other things that you're doing, which maybe you can monetize,
I see that.
They will then love that.
I don't know. For me, I just like to talk.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to have a grand thing either. Absolutely.
I just really like this mic. Like that's the only reason I'm doing this. I sound super sexy.
You got this nice setup here.
I love it. It's simple, but I appreciate it.
It's simple. It's the fucking best podcast mixer that you can buy. What are you talking about? 2 of the best mics on the most expensive desk.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Is there anything you want to plug?
I think we're good. I mean, if you've been listening, you probably know, if you're in Estonia, let me just say, I know we talk much about all the shows, but we just really appreciate that people have been behind us and want to come and see what we do. And I was having this conversation with Popov in the car the other day that, like, with the summer tour, some guys, we heard, like, people were coming from different towns. They would go, oh, we're in Vusul, but we just traveled from Tartu. But like, well, but we're doing a show there next week. Like, yeah, but we just wanted, and we found out these guys had hired like a minibus and wanted to drive to the show with his friends. Like, there's no one that I'm hiring a bus to drive to with my friends, right? Yeah. Fucking Jesus could come back and I'll still be like, I don't know, man, I'm busy that day,
Yeah.
That there is people out there that like what we do so much that they would go to those extremes. And on one hand, it blows my mind and I'm appreciative of that. On the other hand, I try not to consider it too much because that's too much for a simple little brain to take in, right? I don't want to let that get to my head or overthink that. Just keep doing the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I do want to take a moment to thank everyone that's been super enthusiastic for our show. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks,
Louis. Man. Wow, that's great.
Yay.
We're done. 3rd episode. I'm so happy, bro.
Fuck yeah.
I'll just stop it right here.
Bam.